and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah, yeah. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Like this. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Like this. Never say die. Never say die. Keep on. Never say die. Like this. Never say
In the midst of sorrow, you can see up and looking down. A brighter day tomorrow will bring. Oh, you hear the voice of reason telling you this can never be done. No matter how hard reality seems, just hold on to the dream. Yeah.
You are listening to and streaming a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey with you in afternoon drive time. I'm your host and White House correspondent here, thumbing through the headlines, keeping all of you abreast of what you need to keep an eye on. But all you got to know is I'm in touch, and so you'd be in touch. Follow me on all the socials at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and I pop right on up fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or if you're feeling froggy, tell Alexa. Tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580, and there we are for your golden ears. Last but not least, subscribe to a More Perfect Union podcast. That way you won't miss some of your favorite episodes. You just won't miss them. You'll get that little push notification, change your life. Just saying. I want to remind everybody that this marks the 1-year anniversary of the Eaton fire in particular. As I understand it, the LA wildfires started in the Palisades on January 7th, 2025. It was really the early morning hours after midnight on January 8th when the Eaton Canyon fire started to whip up, impacting the people of Altadena. And let me just tell you that I couldn't be more proud of my friend, my brother, my colleague, James Farr, who has been there on the ground from the very beginning, caring a lot from folks who've been directly impacted by the fires. He made it his business to join forces with our very own Tavis Smiley, and they created Conversations Live, Altadena Rising. Every weekend, that has operated as the show of record. So while all the national news cameras, while they've moved on to other headlines in other parts of the country, James has been committed to passing the mic to folks who have been impacted and are on this topsy-turvy road to recovery and deserve every ounce of justice. And so in short order, we're going to be in conversation with James Farr, doing a look back and a look forward. And we'll also learn what he has in store for this weekend's Conversation Live episodes. But first things first, it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. USA Today exclusively reporting that the Doge cuts have prompted a scramble to feed troops at remote U.S. bases. An Army base in Alaska responsible for protecting the U.S. homeland from nuclear missile attacks has struggled to feed its soldiers in recent months due to the Trump administration's efforts to shrink the federal workforce. This according to a military document. Fort Greely is tucked in the rugged interior of the 49th state, just north of a gap in a glacier-capped mountain of the Alaska Range. And the base experienced what's called a critical disruption in food service operations after the remote Army base lost essential federal civilian cooks in the wake of efforts to shrink the workforce. The document, which is a legal justification for an emergency no-bid contract awarded to staff the fort's dining facility, it blamed the issue on staff retirements combined with a federal hiring freeze and a buyout program launched by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency shortly after President Trump took office last year. Shameful. This is shameful. There's no other way to look at it. This is shameful. You have an Army base in Alaska that's scrambling to feed our troops. What about that is making America great? What about that is ushering in the golden age of America? What about that is putting America first? Come on, folks. That's what we keep hearing coming out of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's what we keep hearing coming out of the mouth of President Trump and members of his administration. But you got to reconcile the rhetoric with what's actually happening on the ground. Folks are talking more about taking over Greenland and taking control and running Venezuela. But meanwhile, you have troops in Alaska that are scrambling to be fed because of these Doge cuts, these indiscriminate Doge cuts. I told you, it's the good, bad, and ugly headlines. You decide. That sounds pretty ugly to me. In other news, The Guardian is reporting that Trump says that the power to be constrained rests in his own morality. He says he doesn't need international law. Donald Trump has said that he does not need international law and that his power is limited only by his own morality. Take that in. In an interview with the New York Times, Trump said the only constraints of his power as president of the U.S. is, quotes, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop me. I'm not looking to hurt people. He went on to concede, I do, in regards to whether his administration needed to adhere to international law, but said it depends on what your definition of international law is. Trump, who spoke to the newspaper as his administration is looking at a range of options and attempts to gain control of Greenland, also emphasized the importance of ownership. He said ownership is very important because that's what I feel is psychologically needed for success. I think that ownership gives you a thing that you can't do with. You're talking about a lease or a treaty. Ownership gives you things and elements that you can't get from just signing a document. Trump also dismissed concerns that his decision to oust President Maduro of Venezuela would set the precedent of a potential Chinese takeover of Taiwan or a Russian attempt to control Ukraine. So the president dismissed that based on what? He says that was a real threat. You didn't have people pouring into China. You didn't have drugs pouring into China. You didn't have all the bad things that we've had. You didn't have the jails of Taiwan opened up and people pouring into China. That's what he said, adding that no criminals were pouring into Russia. I don't know about this argument. What do you think about this argument? Does this argument pass the smell test with you? I don't think I said this earlier this week. For the record, I'm going to say it again. I don't understand what the deterrent is for China to do to Taiwan what we have just done to Venezuela, for Russia to continue their military campaign and their aggression to Ukraine. We have no moral standing to say don't do that. And I believe that fundamentally makes us all unsafe. But when we come forward, we're switching gears. We're coming home to Southern California, where we're going to do a look back and a look forward on this topsy-turvy road to recovery among the folks impacted by the LA wildfires, particularly in Altadena. We're going to do that with James Farr, host of Conversations Live, Altadena Rising. And then a little bit later, we'll be joined with April Rain. She is the founder of the Oscars So White movement. She's a social impact advisor. And we're going to talk about award season, which is just getting up to speed. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with James Farr when we come forward.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to partner with the Empowerment Congress once again for their 34th annual summit. The summit's theme is From Vision to Action, a forum to unlock participatory democracy, and will feature a nonpartisan gubernatorial candidate forum focused on issues of importance to the African American community. The summit is the signature public policy-oriented observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy during the national 3-day holiday weekend that celebrates his life. This year's summit will be held on Saturday, January 17th, 2026 at the California Science Center in Exposition Park from 9 to 11 a.m. Admission is free, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. All major announced candidates for California governor for the Democratic and Republican Party nominations have been invited to participate in the candidate forum, which will be moderated by Tavis Smiley. An all-star panel of journalists will pose questions to the candidates, and the forum will be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580. This is going to be a big year for local, state, and national politics. The political pulse of 2026 beats on KBLA Talk 1580.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests. as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. There he is. There's my guy, James Farr. He is the host of Conversations Live, Altadena Rising, right here on KBLA Talk 1580. You can hear him every weekend. That is the show of record. Look, while a lot of the cameras, the national cameras in particular, sort of moved on and to other stories, James Farr has stayed on the case. He has allowed us to tap in every week to join the recovery journey of so many folks who've been impacted by the LA wildfires, particularly the Eaton Canyon fire that has impacted the residents of Altadena. James, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nii-Quartelai. I'm so grateful and honored to be with you. And, you know, you were doing some amazing work in Washington, D.C. and holding the folks at 1600 accountable. So I appreciate your witness and observation in the agency that you hold.
Well, you know, look, teamwork makes the dream work. In that spirit, you know, how are you remembering this 1 year anniversary of the fires? I remember when it happened. You were on the ground. You were playing a lot of different roles. Altadena is a place that you too call home. And I remember talking to you in a church parking lot, and I could sense that you were carrying a lot. Yeah. And I think I might have said something to the effect of giving you permission to emote, giving you permission to take inventory, and not having to be the strong friend every day.
Yes. Well, it's so interesting that you would say that, today being January 8th, and I had to sequester. I'm at a school, Rosebud Academy. Their school was burned, right? And so here are school-age children who are now commemorating the 1 year anniversary, hence the Superman in the background and some of the other things that are around me. But it has been the longest January in my life, Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and certainly for thousands of others, it's felt like an even longer time than that. How I'm doing, I'm better than probably that time that you're referring to. The load is a little bit more balanced, but it's still nonetheless a very heavy load, not for me, but these are the conversations that we're hearing and having in community. Folks, you know, they're smiling, they're strong, but Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, I assure you, people are dealing with some real grief and pain in this moment right now.
Yeah, I mean, just yesterday, I had a chance to talk to one of my college friends who lost her home in Altadena, Lauren Randolph. I had a chance to check in with her and, you know, really sort of peek behind the cloak in terms of the road to recovery. We know that Southern California Edison has publicly acknowledged the role that their failed equipment has played in the fires. They have set up a wildfire recovery fund. James, I think just yesterday I saw a clip, I think it was on Spectrum News, of a relative of Jackie Robinson, who lost their home. And if my memory serves me correctly, I think Southern California Edison's Wildfire Recovery Fund only offered her $25,000 to support the rebuild effort. To our leaders, learners, and listeners across the country, how far does $25,000 stretch when it comes to having to rebuild a home in an area like Altadena?
It won't. It's short enough to not have enough to even get an architecture or get something into planning, even if permits are waived. What's important for your audience to understand about the Southern California wildfire fund that they're offering. We learned yesterday in our live remote with Dominique DePrimo on First Things First, we were in community commemorating and with folks, but we learned through Chris Holden, the CEO of LA Fire Justice, that Edison is saying one thing forward facing and then another thing in court, which is still more deflection, denial, and trying to push blame off on someone other than themselves. This wildfire fund, to your point, I have not seen that report, but it's not surprising to me. They're offering pennies on the dollar. It's an intent to kind of allow folks who are in the most desperate state, while they may use very attractive and cognitive dissonant language such as fast and quick and make you whole, there's nothing that will make these people whole. Going through such a horrific and traumatic experience as the tens of thousands of people, it's really still bad here. I don't want to leave it under any ambiguity. It's bad.
It is bad. It's very bad, and we know that part of what is making this very challenging situation even worse, based on the conversation I had again just yesterday with Eaton Canyon fire survivor Lauren Randolph, who is a part of a group called Altadena for Accountability. She's actually an all-together block captain.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things she was saying that shocked me is that the California Attorney General, Rob Bonta, has not met with the people of Altadena. There are folks in his office that have engaged a few times. I think there was a December meeting with a member from his office. But I am shocked to learn that the California Attorney General has not engaged with the residents of Altadena, particularly those folks who are calling for an independent investigation, and for the California Attorney General's office to use their subpoena power to the fullest extent to get to the bottom of exactly what happened.
Yeah, that group is certainly calling for an investigation. Your listeners may have seen on the world stage at the Rose Parade. I was embedded right with that float. The California Community Foundation, the Black Freedom Fund, sponsored a float with wildfire survivors and honoring the 31 lives from Palisades, Altadena, and the impacted zones that had perished in the fire. There was a huge protest, a strong protest statement. A banner was displayed on that float. That kind of became the out story for many of the news outlets. But to the point of the Attorney General meeting with the residents, that has not happened. The governor has met with some kind of selected groups. What we seem to see over and over again is that there is selectiveness in who has a seat at whatever table. And then there are those who choose the proximity to power and leverage it for their own gain and political, perhaps, ambitions and agendas. But today was a beautiful day with some school-age children. I was in community, Rosebud Academy, a predominantly Black charter school with probably the largest single Black student population in the district, in the city. There were Blacks who were about 4 to 6%. It was the strength of this community coming back together. These children are resilient. They're loving each other. They're doing normal things. They were given sneakers and burgers, and all this love is just being shared on them. But every one of them, their lives has been disrupted by this fire, along with the staff.
In our remaining minutes, James, I want to give you a chance to respond to this. Pasadena Now reporting that after the cameras leave, Altadena recovery leaders, they fear a forgetfulness factor. It's been reported that there are a number of folks, including Antonio Manning, who lost his home in the Eaton fire, and he's a part of the Eaton Fire Collaborative Leadership Council, a governance body that oversees the long-term recovery group, where mental health services have become highly sought out. He's afraid that there's going to be a forgetfulness factor, and that folks are not going to have the resolve to really see the residents of Altadena through in a meaningful way well into the future. Do you share that pessimism?
No, not at all. As long as KBLA Talk 1580 is on air, as long as you and as a colleague and Mr. Smiley and the entire Dominique DePrima, we're not going to let Altadena be forgotten. There is some, I do understand what he is saying. The cameras had already left. They're back now, but this is anticipated. This is consistent with the disaster news cycle, which is why our witness is so important, that we stay grounded and we don't let folks forget. The larger issue will be relief funds that will begin to disappear and not be as readily available. Folks need cash. This is not a recovery effort yet, Dr. Nii-Quartelai. 1 year later, it is relief. We are still in that space where people need help.
We are indeed. We are indeed. Our thanks to James Farr. He is the host of Conversations Live, Altadena Rising, right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Where can people go to follow you and continue to stay abreast of the relief efforts that are still afoot in Altadena?
At James Farr Live. I'm across all socials. And of course, they can follow the KBLA social media handles as well.
Thank you, James Farr. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. April Rain joins us when we come forward.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Vice President J.D. Vance says Democrats and what he called a radical far-left network are to blame for the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis.
This was an attack on the American people.
Appearing with Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, Vance claimed Renee Good tried to ram an agent with her car and accused the far-left of fueling attacks on ICE. 2 people were shot by federal agents in Southeast Portland Thursday afternoon. The FBI is leading the investigation, while Portland police say they were not involved in immigration enforcement. Mayor Keith Wilson called the shooting troubling and urged ICE to pause operations until the investigation is complete. And a federal judge has ended a decades-old desegregation order in Louisiana's DeSoto Parish School District. The 1967 order required the district to report progress on ending segregation. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrow welcomed the move, which followed similar action under the Trump administration. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Mid-City crash on the 10. This is eastbound just past National. They've just cleared this wreck off to the shoulder, and the drive remains really tough getting away from Centinela. Crash in Highland Park. This is on the 110 freeway, making your way northbound before Bridewell, blocking that left lane. So watch out for some immediate delays as you come around in that direction. And Monterey Park, a stall on the 10 eastbound before New Avenue. 2 middle lanes blocked, sending you back from City Terrace Drive.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
If you have the skills to be an NFL head coach, this is a good time to be job hunting. There are now 8 NFL teams looking for a new head coach. The Miami Dolphins are the latest team to tell their guy to clean out his office. They fired Mike McDaniel Thursday morning after 4 seasons. Along with Miami, these are the teams in need of a new head coach: Atlanta, Cleveland, Baltimore, Arizona, Tennessee, the New York Giants, and Las Vegas Raiders. Lakers star Luka Doncic is still leading the NBA in scoring. Doncic is averaging 33.7 per game. Clippers star Kawhi Leonard leads the NBA in steals with 2.2 per game. Friday night at 6 p.m., Out of Bounds is moving to prime time. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for 60 minutes of sports chatter with some black folks flavor. And you can be a part of the conversation at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay!
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me!
National news of consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
It is so hard to sit here sometimes because I didn't come to Congress to write laws or to do things that are hurting people. I'm just asking if there's any decency or heart or courage on that side of the aisle. The fact that a woman was killed, she was shot in her head, and y'all are pretending like nothing happened. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you remember what our response was? Our response wasn't to sit there and pretend like it was okay. Is it okay because you have a badge? Because the last time I checked, allegedly no one is above the law. Can y'all not just have a little bit of courage and humanity? A child. A child has lost her mom. And y'all want to pretend that it is okay. I am asking if there is anyone that will stand for the very people that elected us and sent us to Congress. You tell us things like, well, the immigrants are bad. And so we got to get all these bills because the immigrants are the ones that are causing the harm. They're bringing the crime. The mayor of Minneapolis told y'all to get the fuck out. Yeah, y'all are the ones. It is this administration that is bringing crime
Mr.
to
Chair,
their streets. That's what's happening.
It's the third incident where somebody has dropped an F-bomb in this committee, including the video.
I'm sorry.
Including the video that we had to watch earlier.
Are your princess ears okay?
Is it profanity?
Your princess
more
ears
House
okay?
of Representatives.
than you are about the fact that a woman
Are you
is
soft?
House of Representatives.
The gentlelady.
Are we
will
offending your
suspend-
princess ears? Are they that soft?
All members
Well,
will.
maybe some of the
suspend-
kids out there.
Mr. Chairman, it is the gentlelady.
You're killing them.
It is the gentle.
It is.
You are listening to and streaming a More Perfect Union on
It is so-
KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. I'm now joined by with April Rain. She is the founder of the Oscar So White movement. She's a senior social impact advisor and one of our entertainment and culture contributors. Welcome back to the show. Happy New Year, April.
Happy New Year. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. Before we turn to entertainment, arts, and culture, I wanted to get your reaction to that clip that Don Lemon posted earlier today of Representative Jasmine Crockett attempting to summon the conscience of lawmakers on the other side of the aisle. What's your reaction?
I think that it's unfortunate that I don't know that she has to ask the question, that it is not obvious that there are people on the other side of the aisle who do have a conscience, who do believe in, this is supposed to be the party of family, right? The family values and pro-life and all of this. And yet we see that this woman, and let's name her Renee Nicole Good, lost her life senselessly. There is this tragedy. I go all the way back to Sandy Hook and even before, when they started killing white babies in schools, and there was not an outcry to the extent that we got common sense gun control. I knew that this country was done. And it's been a slippery slope into the abyss ever since then.
You're right. There are a lot of folks who watched what happened to the little kids at Sandy Hook and then watched again in horror what happened to the kids at Uvalde, hoping and praying and praying and hoping that maybe folks, the powers that be, would come to their senses. And even since we've been on the air today, another incident has popped up in Portland where 2 people have been shot in Portland. You have the Portland mayor urging ICE to leave town. You had the mayor of
I apologize.
Minneapolis.
Can we talk about ICE for just a second? What are their qualifications? Because we have heard, you starting salary is $100,000. We don't know whether you have to have any type of college degree. We don't know whether you have to have any type of specialized training. We don't know what type of training one receives once you become a member of ICE. We don't know if these people have criminal records. They're allowed to walk around with masks on. They do not provide their identification when asked very often. So this is the Klan. Let's be real about it. This is and I don't want to say modern day because I know the Klan still exists, but this is another iteration of the Klan. Just lawless white and sometimes non-white men who have immunity, it seems. We heard the vice president say that this man has absolute immunity, and we can talk about that because I'm not sure that that's true. But let's say that he doesn't have immunity. Let's say that DOJ decides to prosecute a case against him, which is not a given. Even if he's convicted, we still have in the White House a man that may pardon him and may pardon him before it even gets to trial. Right. And so it's not just that we have lawlessness on our streets. It's that there is no accountability from anybody else. And so all 3 of the branches of government are broken in my mind. And I apologize for cutting you off.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. We were just talking about the vice president's claim that ICE has absolute immunity. We're talking with Todd Belcourt, civil rights attorney, about that. And Todd said that's not true. That's not a thing. Absolute immunity is not a thing. But to the point that you just made earlier, if you have a sitting president that is willing to go to great lengths to use their pardon power, that in effect is absolute immunity. Absolute immunity, not under the law, but it is a perversion of the law by way of pardoning folks who break the law that may in fact deliver that absolute immunity that Vice President Vance was talking about.
I think that's exactly right. And so then it becomes incumbent that the state potentially prosecute this man for what we all saw. You know, unless you were wearing your MAGA glasses, which probably cost you $49.99 on the Trump website, you saw what we saw, which is this man was not in fear of his life. The second two shots, because there were three that I saw, 3 shots that he made. The second two, he had to turn his body. So he wasn't facing the car or the van anymore. He had to turn and continue to shoot at this unarmed woman who was attempting to get away from him and leave. And so, you know, we'll have to see what Tim Walz does. You know, he just announced that he is not running for governor again. So what will the state do to hold this man accountable, if anything? And let's also remember, because this ICE agent is a federal employee, the federal government could take the case away from the state and supersede and then prosecute or not on their own.
Let me just add that I think this is a very important conversation for folks to raise with Senator Amy Klobuchar. There are reports that Senator Klobuchar is considering a run for governor in Minnesota. It's worth noting that Senator Klobuchar, who ran for president, she ran for the Democratic nomination unsuccessfully. It's worth noting that she was also once upon a time a prosecutor. And so I think it's important that we get people on the record and understand where they stand. So if they get the nomination, if they become the next governor of Minnesota in this case, we have a sense of what we can expect. And we're going to do everything we can to get Senator Klobuchar here on A More Perfect Union to answer that very question. When we come forward, we're switching gears. We're going to talk entertainment, arts, and culture. A lot of headlines out there about the movie Sinners and the politics of Sinners, particularly during award season. We're going to ask April to unpack all that and more. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That fun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580. So many headlines coming out of Washington, D.C. So many headlines coming out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Portland. We're going to talk about Hollywood for just a moment with the right one. We got the right one, April Reign, who is founder of the Oscar So White movement. She is here to separate the fact from the fiction. Talk to us about some of the politics around the movie Sinners. There are a lot of headlines that are swirling that suggest that there are powerful people in Hollywood that aren't giving this film its due. Folks in media that are purposely suppressing the good news and the enthusiasm about this film to sink its chances of doing well during award season.
And we have seen this before Sinners even came out. Variety had an article the opening weekend of Sinners saying that it had made about $60 million, I think, opening weekend, but is that enough or what have you? And Sinners went on to be a juggernaut at the box office and culturally as well. It's just a really important film on a number of different levels, in addition to the fact that it is an original idea, written and directed by the genius that is Ryan Coogler. So this isn't a big box thing. This is not a franchise thing. This is something that came from Ryan's background that he wanted to put on screen. He said it is his most personal work. So what we see now is awards. There's so much. I could do an entire hour on award shows. Award shows in part are used to get people back into the movie theater. And so there are times when specific people, specific outlets will push a certain movie that maybe isn't doing as well, or a movie that they just think should be doing better, as opposed to other films. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that now with, I think it's called Marty Supreme, starring Timothy Chalamet. And so there's this big, supposedly, tug of war between Timothy Chalamet, who is the star of Marty Supreme, and Michael B. Jordan, who is the star of Sinners. Let's remember that Michael B. Jordan is playing 2.5 roles, and yet not getting half of the credit.
We grew up knowing that Black folks had to work twice as hard for half as much. But my goodness, 2.5 characters. That's a lot. And a lot of folks are saying that this is one of the most memorable roles that they've seen Michael B. Jordan in. And he has quite a body of work that he has built. Spike Lee, really sort of celebrating this movie, celebrating the genius of Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan and all the other folks that make this film great. What is it about Coogler or Jordan or this film that seems to be attracting a silent contempt from some powerful people, particularly in Hollywood media?
They're Black. We can dance around it if you want to.
That's why we have you here. You get right to it. Straight no chaser.
And then we can parse that if you want to, but that's what it is. Ryan did his own thing. We need to talk about, and I attempt to often, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan together. And they need to be in the same conversation as Scorsese and DiCaprio, for example, right? Or Coppola and De Niro. There is something about, they're great apart, but there is something about when they come together. And I think this is the fifth film that they have worked together. And it is amazing. They clearly have their own kind of shorthand. And I think that the powers that be are jealous of that. And concerned about what that means, because every time Ryan puts something on the screen, it blows the box office out of the water. Let's remember $1.4 billion worldwide, 2018 for Black Panther, and he has not looked back. Sinners killed all estimations with respect to box office numbers, and that's important. In addition, there was a huge conversation about Ryan saying that he wanted this intellectual property back after 25 years. Had that been done before? Sure. Had a Black man ever done that before? No. And so now all of a sudden it's new and weird, and maybe, he shouldn't have it. And that's in part because of what I mentioned earlier, that this is a very personal piece of IP, intellectual property for him. So I think that's what it is. I mean, look, Michael B. Jordan, look at him. He's tall, dark, and handsome. He's debonair. He's never been in trouble. He you know what I mean? He's the cream of the crop. So why isn't he talked about as the man, as the leading man of the moment? Because of his hue, because of, and I hate to say it, but clearly the man is talented. And so what is it if not that?
Yeah. Let's also talk about the economics of this. And you just touched on this. For folks who are less familiar, it is a very unusual deal that Ryan Coogler was able to strike with Warner Brothers Discovery. Basically, he took on a whole lot of risk with this film, but he did so really sort of leaning in on the clout that he had created by way of Black Panther, the success of Black Panther. It gave him a stronger negotiating position with Warner Brothers Discovery, and got the studio to sign a deal giving him back his copyright to the film after 25 years. There are reports that there are some studio executives that are actually freaking out because, heaven forbid, this become the way to go for a number of other artists in the near future. Heaven forbid, that means a little less money for these studios. Talk to us about the economics of this and why we all should be paying extra close attention to how this deal got done, and what it might mean for Black artists looking to work with studios or not well into the future.
Yeah, and let's remember, this is 25 years from now. So we're talking about 2050, 2049 perhaps, right? And so who knows what the economics are going to look like then. But what we do know is we have Prince to look to as a guide who said you need to own your masters. Right. And this is equivalent to that, to owning your work so that you can do what you want to with it. And that's incredibly important, especially for Black and brown creatives who have even less control than usual than their white counterparts. And so it shouldn't be looked at as a big deal because, again, this has been done before. But I think it is a signal to creators of color that you should at least consider what it might mean to put this into your deal as part of your negotiation. You made a very good point that, Ryan has built, a great foundation. You can't do this with your first film. He could not have done this with Fruitvale Station. But now where he is, he should be able to call the shots because what he brings is undeniable to the screen, and he wins every single time.
He wins every single time, and we love to see it. I'm from the Bay, and so is Ryan, and that's how we roll. We are unafraid to set the trend and set the standard and raise the bar, and that's what he's doing. That's what Michael B's doing. That's what folks are responding to, and we love to see it. It's award season, and so we don't know. There's a lot of plot twists that could take place this season. We look forward to having you back again soon to help us make sense out of all of it.
Absolutely. See you soon.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. That's all the time we have. I hope you've enjoyed the show we've curated for you today. And please, by all means, keep the family and friends of Renee Nicole Good in your thoughts and prayers. This was a death that shouldn't have happened. Just shouldn't have happened. And let us pray that the highest good emerges from this. The highest good. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to the entire village helps us produce A More Perfect Union. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our show producers, Faraji and Art and Journey, to our wonderful sound engineer, Brother Andy, and to each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners, thank you. Remember, do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. She is April Rain. And you've been listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Florida school leaders are bracing for a tense meeting after backlash over comments by board member Robert Alvaro, who criticized the Black community in a video posted last month. The remarks sparked calls for his resignation and drew scrutiny from Florida's education commissioner.